Are you looking for the best Wi-Fi routers? In this video we will look at some of the best Wi-Fi routers on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. TP-Link Archer AX55. The US government is reportedly mulling a TP-Link router ban after reports that vulnerabilities in the Chinese firm's routers were exploited in high-profile attacks linked to the Chinese government. According to the Wall Street Journal, the US Commerce, Defense, and Justice Departments are investigating TP-Link, though no evidence of any deliberate wrongdoing has yet emerged. TP-Link is not the only brand targeted by malicious actors. Cisco and Netgear devices have also been infected in suspected Chinese state-sponsored attacks. We will monitor this situation as it develops before deciding whether we need to reconsider our recommendations. This affordable Wi-Fi 6 router is what I think most people should buy. The slick black finish is attractive, and there are 4 antennas to direct Wi-Fi to every corner. It's worth tweaking and testing different positions. Performance was solid throughout my 2-floor, 1,600 square foot home but dropped off slightly in the back garden. Stability was excellent over weeks of testing, hitting the upper mid-end in my speed and range tests. This router also ticks off all the feature boxes you want: MU-MIMO, beamforming, WPA3. We explain many of these terms in our How to Buy a Router guide. It has 4 gigabit Ethernet LAN ports, a single gigabit WAN port, and a USB 3.0 port on the back, which is enough for most people. I'm a fan of TP-Link's Tether app, Android, iOS, where you can review traffic, split bands, create a guest network, schedule reboots, set automatic updates, and even tell the LED to turn off at night. TP-Link's basic free tier offers network scanning, QoS, quality of service, for device prioritization, and basic parental controls, so you can filter and blacklist websites. If you want more perks, like intrusion detection and real-time web security, you'll need to upgrade to Security Plus for $5 a month or $36 a year. Total Security adds antivirus, VPN, and password management for $6 a month or $70 a year. TP-Link has separated its advanced parental controls, so if you want time limits for apps, downtime, safe search, and more, it will cost you $3 a month or $18 a year. Specs: Wi-Fi version Wi-Fi 6. Bands 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x gigabit WAN, 4x gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.0. Size 12.99 by 9.45 by 2.87 inches, 1.66 pounds. At number 2. Asus RT-AX86U Pro. Simple setup, silky performance, and serious speed make this Asus router a good choice for anyone prepared to spend more for smoother Wi-Fi. It sports an eye-catching red and black design with 3 rotatable antennas. This router had no issues covering my entire home and garden and was one of the top performers in my tests. It delivered consistently fast speeds everywhere and was stable, even with 4 people streaming and gaming simultaneously. There are some handy customization options for gamers and optimizations that ensure low latency. It also has plenty of ports, including a 2.5 Gbps port configurable as WAN or LAN, for gigabit Ethernet ports, 1 USB 3.2, and 1 USB 2.0 port. The Asus app is packed with options, making it very easy to tweak router settings, should you need to. It covers everything, from comprehensive parental controls to traffic prioritization and network security. That includes AI Protection Pro, powered by Trend Micro, which monitors your network for malicious activity, no subscription required. This router supports AI Mesh, which means you can add any other AI Mesh Asus router to create a mesh network and expand connectivity in your home. The original RT-AX86U has been discontinued, so we switched to the almost identical RT-AX86U Pro, which has a faster processor inside. It performs slightly better in my tests, but the difference is slight, so buy whichever one is cheaper. Specs: Version Wi-Fi 6. Bands 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x 2.5 gigabits per second WAN/LAN, 4x gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.2, 1x USB 2.0. Size 9.53 by 3.94 by 12.8 inches, 1.8 pounds. At number 3. TP-Link Archer AX21. This impressive Wi-Fi 6 router delivers reliable performance at a relatively low price and succeeds our previous pick, the AX20. Despite the demands of 4-people video streaming and gaming, I rarely noticed a difference in everyday performance between this and my top pick, the AX55. My tests revealed some limitations on the range, however, and the download speed when installing a new game was noticeably slower than with the rest of our picks. But for most day-to-day tasks over a week of testing, this router delivered sterling service. It matches the AX55 with 4 gigabit Ethernet LAN ports and 1 WAN but only has a USB 2.0. The Tether app is straightforward and packed with all the basic options you need, including traffic prioritization, parental controls, and a guest network. There's no Security Plus or Home Shield with this router, but most people don't need those extra services. If you don't care about online gaming performance or have tons of smart home devices, and your home is 1,600 square feet or smaller, you likely don't need to spend more than this. Specs: Version Wi-Fi 6. Bands 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x gigabit WAN, 4x gigabit LAN, 1x USB 2.0. Size 10.28 by 5.3 by 1.61 inches, 1.1 pounds. At number 4. Asus RT-AXE7800. While many people will be best served by skipping Wi-Fi 6E to wait for Wi-Fi 7, anyone suffering from congestion problems could benefit from jumping onto the 6 GHz band today. The tri-band Asus RT-AXE7800, 8/10 wired recommends, is a reliable and relatively affordable way to do so. This hexagonal router has a 2.5 Gbps WAN/LAN port, a second 1 gigabit per second WAN/LAN, and a further 3 gigabit LANs, with link aggregation support. Close range performance was excellent on both the 5 GHz and 6 GHz bands, mid-range results on the 5 GHz band were good, and long-range performance on the 2.4 GHz band was average. There are options galore in the mobile app and browser interface, including band splitting, prioritization for different activities, guest network, VPN support, and lots more. The RT-AXE7800 also comes with parental controls and network security without a subscription, so there are no hidden costs. It covered my 1,600 square foot home comfortably, but folks with larger properties may prefer a mesh system, though the AI mesh support means the RT-AXE7800 can be combined with other Asus routers to form one. Specs: Version Wi-Fi 6E. Bands 6 GHz, 5 GHz, and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x 2.5 Gbps WAN/LAN, 1x gigabit WAN/LAN, 3x gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.0. Size 9.49 by 8.27 by 2.44 inches, 2.28 pounds. At number 5. Asus RT-BE96U. If you're an early adopter itching to try Wi-Fi 7, then the Asus RT-BE96U is calling. This enormous, tri-band router is bristling with 8 large antennas and is not easy to mount, so you will need a suitable space for it. This router is seriously massive, but performance-wise, this is as good as it gets right now. Testing on the 2.4 GHz, 5 GHz, and 6 GHz bands, only one other router has performed better, and it was the GT-BE98 Pro below, also from Asus. The RT-BE96U offers expansive coverage, easily blanketing my home and garden with stable, speedy Wi-Fi. Whether downloading or moving large files, gaming, or streaming, the RT-BE96U is fast and reliable. It also has two 10 gigabits per second ports, one WAN/LAN and a LAN, for gigabit LANs, one USB 3.2, and a USB 2.0 port. Being super picky, it might have been nice if those gigabit ports were 2.5 gigabits per second, as TP-Link offers in the BE800. I love that Asus continues to avoid the subscription model, offering AI protection security, VPN functionality, and robust parental controls as part of the purchase price and free for the lifetime of the router. You also get an in-depth set of networking features you can dig into, and there is support for AI mesh, enabling you to link this with other Asus routers to create a mesh. You don't even have to create an account to use this router, which is a rarity nowadays. The firmware on Asus routers can sometimes be ropey at release, but I've been using the RT-BE96U for a couple of weeks without so much as a hiccup. The caveat? You do need devices that support Wi-Fi 7 and a multi-gig connection to put this router through its paces. Most folks do not have to spend this much to get great Wi-Fi, but if you want a router to last you the next few years, this is an excellent choice. Specs. Version Wi-Fi 7. Bands 6 GHz, 5 GHz, and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x 10 gigabits per second WAN/LAN, 1x 10 gigabits per second LAN, 4x gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.2, 1x USB 2.0. Size 13.8 by 13.8 by 8.57 inches, 4.1 pounds. At number 6. Asus ROG Rapture RT-AX6000. My time with the Asus ROG Rapture RT-AX6000 was refreshingly free of issues. It's a big, loud design with 4 antennas and RGB lighting that screams gamer. Still, it served up speedy, unbroken Wi-Fi throughout my home and garden and didn't flinch at 4 simultaneous online gaming sessions. It's easy to prioritize gaming devices or activity, and there's a mobile game mode, simple port forwarding, and a dedicated gaming port. Speaking of which, you get plenty of ports to make the most of an internet connection of up to 2.5 gigabits per second. As with the rest of the Asus range, the mobile app is excellent and boasts all the features you need, including guest network support, band splitting, parental controls, and anti-malware. The AI Protection Pro and parental controls are free for the device's lifetime, so you don't have to make monthly payments. Asus offers Instant Guard free with this router, enabling it to secure your public Wi-Fi connections when you are out by running a VPN, virtual private network, server on your router at home, which also means you don't have to share data with a VPN provider. Specs. Version Wi-Fi 6. Bands 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x 2.5 Gbps WAN/LAN, 1x 2.5 gigabits per second LAN, 4x gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.2, 1x USB 2.0. Size 13.3 by 7.72 by 8.7 inches, 2.5 pounds. At number 7. Asus ROG Rapture RT-BE96U Pro. Topping my testing charts, the Asus ROG Rapture RT-BE96U Pro is a supremely capable, quad-band, Wi-Fi 7 gaming router. For speed, this is the best router I have tested to date. It is very similar to the RT-BE96U above, but Asus has added a second 6 GHz band on top of the existing 2.4 GHz, 5 GHz, and 6 GHz bands, and an extra 10 gigabits per second LAN port. This is also easily the biggest router I have ever tested at nearly 14 inches across, with 8 huge antennas. It is far from subtle, won't blend in, and could prove tricky to place. Because it is a gaming router, Asus has included Aura RGB lighting, so you can pick the colored lighting you want and make it a feature. AI Protection Pro security software and parental controls powered by Trend Micro are bundled into the cost. This comprehensive security combo includes a firewall, intrusion prevention, malicious site blocking, automatic updates, and more. Parental controls include scheduling, website filtering by age, and usage stats. You also get VPN support with the option to connect remotely when you are out and about. Naturally, there are some gaming-focused features, with game acceleration enabling you to prioritize gaming-related traffic through ports and packet analysis. If you have Asus ROG gear, it can be prioritized with a click, and Asus includes server acceleration to minimize latency through the third-party WT-Fast service. Apart from the size and cost, there isn't much to criticize here, but it is worth considering that the range on the 6 GHz band is limited and struggles to penetrate through walls, so you will need Wi-Fi 7 devices in fairly close proximity to take full advantage of this router. Specs. Version Wi-Fi 7. Bands 2x 6 GHz, 5 GHz, and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x 10 gigabits per second WAN/LAN, 2x 10 gigabits per second LAN, 4x gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.2, 1x USB 2.0. Size 13.7 by 8.6 by 13.7 inches, 4.4 pounds. At number 8. Netgear Nighthawk RS300. It's still not cheap, but at around half the price of our best Wi-Fi 7 pick, this Netgear router is a solid option that will likely exceed most folks' needs. The classy tower design is understated, and this is a fanless router that kept its cool during my tests. Setup was a breeze, and the simplified app is designed to be hands-off. The Nighthawk RS300 offers 2.4 GHz, 5 GHz, and 6 GHz bands. Speed and stability on the 5 GHz and 6 GHz bands were excellent, though the range on the 6 GHz band is limited. Performance on the 2.4 GHz band was slightly below par, but that will likely only be an issue if you have loads of older devices. The RS300 has one 2.5 Gbps Ethernet port for your incoming internet, two 2.5 gigabits per second and 2 gigabit LAN ports, and one USB 3.0 port. While Asus routers are great for tinkerers who want to dive into settings, Netgear limits your options to keep things simple. You can still set up a guest network, run speed tests, split bands, meter your traffic, and analyze your Wi-Fi signal in the accessible Nighthawk app. Premium Smart Parental Controls, $8 per month or $70 per year, and Netgear Armor, $100 per year, add tons of features, but they are expensive. You get a 30-day trial of each, and most people don't need them. The RS300 is one of the best experiences I have had with a Netgear router, with very fast speeds on the 5 and 6 GHz bands, lightning-quick file transfer times, and no issues over 2 weeks of testing. For folks with mostly newish gadgets, internet connections up to 2.5 gigabits per second, and no desire to tweak network settings, this is a great first Wi-Fi 7 router. Specs: Version Wi-Fi 7. Bands 6 GHz, 5 GHz, and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x 2.5 Gbps WAN/LAN, 2x 2.5 Gbps LAN, 2x Gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.0. Size 9.8 by 5.9 by 4 inches. At number 9. Asus ZenWiFi XT8 2-pack. Consistently delivering a stable high-speed Wi-Fi connection, the Asus ZenWiFi AX68 mesh system tops our best mesh Wi-Fi routers guide and is ideal for large homes or houses with dead spots. I like the classy, unobtrusive design in black or white. This system performed well in tests, offering great coverage and close to maximum speeds at close, mid-dash, and long range. I encountered a slight issue during setup that was resolved with a factory reset and firmware update. Over the months since, I have continued using this system hassle-free. Each versatile unit is a full router with 3 gigabit LAN ports, a 2.5 Gbps WAN/LAN, and a USB 3.1. Part of the appeal of Asus routers is the excellent app, packed with features for tinkerers but easy enough for anyone to navigate. All the options you need are here, from band splitting to guest networks to prioritization for specific activities like gaming or video streaming. You also get comprehensive parental controls and anti-malware protection free for the lifetime of the router. The XT8 2-pack can cover a home up to 5,500 square feet, and it supports AI mesh, meaning it's easy to add more AI mesh routers to expand your network. Specs: Version Wi-Fi 6. Bands 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x 2.5 Gbps WAN/LAN, 3x Gigabit LAN, 1x USB 3.1. Size 6.3 by 2.95 by 6.36 inches, each. At number 10. Razer Blade 18. The best gaming laptop we've tested is the Razer Blade 18, 2024. This is the one to get if money is no object. It has an all-aluminum chassis that feels incredibly sturdy and just as premium as an Apple MacBook Pro. There's only one CPU option, the top-end Intel Core i9-14900HX, which you can pair with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070, 4080, or 4090 laptop GPU. Needless to say, there's plenty of processing power to deliver a smooth gaming experience in the most demanding titles. There are two display options, a 300Hz QHD plus mini LED and a 200Hz 4K plus IPS panel, so you can choose whether you want better responsiveness or a sharper image. Both displays have a fast response time and GSANC support, and they get bright enough to combat glare in well-lit settings. The keyboard feels spacious and tactile, and of course, there's per-key RGB backlighting. You get tons of ports for peripherals and external displays, including 3 USB-As, 2 USB-Cs, one with Thunderbolt 4/5 support, depending on the configuration, an HDMI 2.1, and a 2.5 gigabits per second Ethernet port. If you aren't close enough to your router for a wired connection, don't worry, there's Wi-Fi 7 on board. The only downside of this device is that the fans get incredibly loud, reaching 57.0 dBA at their full speed. Its battery life is pretty bad, lasting only an hour or so when gaming, though that isn't uncommon for gaming laptops. At number 11. Asus RT-AX57 Go. If you're out on the road a lot, a travel router could come in very handy, and the Asus RT-AX57 Go is our current pick, though I have only tested a few travel routers. This 5-inch, white, plastic square comes with a Wi stand. It's a dual-band Wi-Fi 6 router with gigabit WAN and LAN Ethernet ports that you can plug into a modem, the port in your hotel, or any other internet source. It can even connect to public Wi-Fi, or you can plug your phone into the USB 3.2 port and use the RT-AX57 Go as a hotspot to magnify your cell connection. It doesn't have a SIM slot of its own. Connect your devices at home, and the Asus RT-AX57 Go provides convenience on vacation. We took it on a weekend trip, and it was nice to simply hook it up to a source to have prepared Wi-Fi on everyone's devices without being asked for the login again and again, as usually happens. Despite the small size, it does a decent job, delivering speedy Wi-Fi and almost covering my whole home. It will easily fill a vacation apartment or hotel room. Asus includes its usual security software, parental controls, and VPN support. It even has AI mesh support, so you could also use the RT-AX57 Go as a mesh node. Overall, this is a versatile, compact gadget at a reasonable price. Specs: Version Wi-Fi 6. Bands 5 GHz and 2.4 GHz. Ports 1x gigabit WAN/LAN, 1x USB 3.2. Size 4.7 by 4.7 by 0.8 inches, 7.36 ounces.